Hello my friends, today we're picking up where we left off in Thursday's Q&A. So if you have not seen part 1 of this video, make sure to have it linked down below for you. But we're picking up chatting about some of your MS questions and dilemmas. So if you'd like to hear my thoughts on some really interesting and juicy RMS topics, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. Do you think all Hermes leather goods are getting harder to purchase than previously? Great question. I definitely think so. And I don't even know if this is a conscious decision by Hermes. I just feel like it's the name of the game these days when it comes to luxury brands. It doesn't really matter what luxury brand you look at. It's very unlikely that they'll have most pieces in stock. I think most brands are still struggling to keep things in stock because of supply chain issues, and I don't think Hermes is an exception, but that is just my educated guess. And you can really clearly see that if you look on their website. They used to have a ton of different pieces available even online, whereas these days it's really hard to find anything in stock. Even pieces that they have available on the site aren't technically available, because once you add them to your cart, it will show an error message saying that the piece you're looking at is out of stock, so you cannot actually check out, which is something that Hermes has always done, but I think it is definitely more common than it was previously. I think they just don't want to have a completely empty site, so they almost use it as a window display. They just put things up so the website doesn't look completely bare. But yeah, I would agree with that. I think pieces are getting harder and harder to get, and I don't even know if that's because they're trying to make their lesser known pieces more exclusive, or if it's simply because they cannot make enough to meet the demand. I would like to hear your opinion on Loro Piana. Have you shopped this brand before? Like to get your opinion, which it's funny that you're asking me about this, because I think I just mentioned that brand, was it in my last video where I talked about it, or maybe the one before? It's definitely a brand that I'm intrigued by. It's something that I had known of for a while, but I had really never taken them seriously. I just always thought it was one of those overrated brands, but the more I know about it, the more pieces I buy, the more I get the hype of this brand. I don't want to say too much at this point because I want to explore more of the brand. I want to buy more pieces, and I want to talk to one of my friends who is a true expert on Loro Piana. So I definitely want to have a conversation with her, and maybe she can tell me a little bit more about the brand, so I can come back to you with my final thoughts. If you'd like me to do a video on Loro Piana and some other lesser known or lesser talked about brands, let me know in the comment section. It's something that I would be happy to do a little bit of digging on. But so far, I'm really impressed by the brand. The quality is outstanding. I think they create beautiful basics. If you don't mind spending the money on timeless, refined, elegant classics that don't scream and shout the brand name, but they definitely make you feel like $1,000,000, Loro Piana is just a gorgeous, gorgeous brand to turn to. Do you resell your items? How do you pass the unwanted ones forward? Great question. Yes, I would say that I have sold maybe a handful of pieces, mainly larger Birkins, because my first Birkins were all in size 40, because that's what I wanted at the time, and it took me a couple of years to realize that it's not really a size that suits me. So all of my Birkin 40s I sold at this point, and at the time I turned to Fashionphile. And I would say that if you live in the US and you're trying to get rid of your more valuable pieces, go to Fashionphile. And if you live in Europe, I would turn to Sack Lab. Both brands I have reviewed before, so if you want to find out why that is and why those two are my favorite companies to work with, make sure to have my video link down below for you on mainly Fashionphile, because that's the brand that I have the most experience with. But yes, I have sold a couple of pieces. I personally have never sold anything smaller, just because I don't really know why. I mainly sold larger pieces and bags that I no longer use and reach for. So yeah, I do have a little bit of experience with this topic, and I would just say that I personally never consign any of my pieces. I like to opt for buyout, meaning that whenever I hand the piece over, I want to get paid for it. I don't want the brand to just take it, put it on a shelf, and have it sit there for a month, a month, a month. Maybe someone buys it, takes it home, plays around with it, and then decides to return it. it's just not something that I would feel comfortable with, especially when it comes to more valuable pieces. So for me, it's really important that a brand is able to offer a buyout. RMS suitcases. Great question. We haven't talked about those in quite a while. I think the last time we discussed them was when they first launched. When was that? Was it earlier this year or late last year? I can't even remember at this point, but if I can find my original review, I'll make sure to have it linked down below for you, because I know that we talked about them at one point, and I would say the same thing that I said in that review of mine, which is that they are beautiful. I mean, they are some of the most beautiful suitcases that money can buy, but unless you exclusively fly first class or you always fly private, I don't know if that would necessarily be the best use of your money, because as beautiful as they are quite fragile and delicate, and I would personally be heartbroken to find a scratch or a mark on my RMS leather suitcase, which you can buy in either leather or with a leather trim, but in actual canvas, which is even worse. So they're definitely beautiful pieces, but personally I wouldn't spend this much money on a suitcase that you know is going to get beaten up unless you really can take good care of your suitcases. It's something that I would be really, really careful with, and I would personally put my money elsewhere. Between the Birkin and the Kelly, which one is the better everyday work bag? Laptop is a must. I would probably say the Kelly, just because it comes with a shoulder strap. Although it really depends on where you work, it depends on the industry that you're in and kind of the environment, because I mean, they're both quite in your face bags. Yes, they're subtle, yes, they're refined, yes, they're timeless and classic, but they are incredibly recognizable, especially when it comes to the Birkin. So I would definitely opt for the Kelly personally, or even better in my opinion is a Her bag. So between the two, I would say Kelly, because of the shoulder strap, because of the fact that it's easier to open and close and you can hide the actual branding. And I don't know why, considering how similar it is to a Birkin, but it's still a little bit lesser known. So I would say Kelly. But to be really honest with you, I don't think that there is a better work bag than either the Her bag or the City backpack, which I also have a video on. But personally, my most favorite work bag that I have ever used is my Her bag 39, which fits a laptop and so much more so perfectly. Does the mini Kelly inside flap get scratched up a lot? Smooth leather on the inside. Yes, I think it's one of the most difficult bags to take care of, because the opening is so incredibly tiny that if you wear a lot of rings, a lot of bracelets, you will scratch the lining of the bag, which, as you said, is incredibly smooth and soft. So there's really nothing that you can do about that. You can of course put an insert in your mini Kelly, which I would recommend. It can be quite a challenge, so I'll make sure to link the one that I used down below for you, which I had custom made, which sounds a lot more fancy than it actually is. All I had to do is give the measurements of my mini Kelly to the company so they could create an insert based on those measurements. So I'll make sure to link the exact insert that I ordered down below. It's definitely something that I would recommend, but the flap part, there's really nothing that you can do about. Personally, my most used mini Kelly is my mini Kelly in black Epsom, and the lining of that bag, I mean, it's not a disaster, but it is pretty scratched up, especially compared to some of my other larger bags, which I use a lot more often. But because they're wider and they're easier to open, they're not nearly as beaten up as the lining of my mini Kellys. We have so many questions on designer knitwear, Hermes cashmere, different other cashmere brands like Loro Piana, that I think it's something that we should do a dedicated video on. I'm not exactly sure how I would approach it, because it is quite a niche topic, but if it's something that you would be interested in, let me know. Give this video a thumbs up so I know that it's something that I should work on, and maybe let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, if there's anything that you would like to know, because it's definitely a topic that I have quite a bit of experience with, but I'm not exactly sure how to talk about it in an actual video of mine. So if you have any questions, just please make sure to leave them in the comment section, and I will also save these. But long story short, Hermes' cashmere is beautiful, insanely expensive but beautiful. Loro Piana's cashmere is also gorgeous, but you guys know that Saint Laurent's cashmere is my most favorite. I'm actually wearing one of their newer cashmere pieces, which I don't think I have worn this in a video yet. This is one of their new slim fit cashmere pieces, which I mean, this is just as beautiful as all of my other cashmere pieces that I own. So yes, Hermes knitwear is beautiful, Loro Piana knitwear is beautiful, but personally, when it comes to cashmere, for the price, for the quality, for the fits, Saint Laurent is my forever go-to. Thoughts on the Constance 24 re-edition, which is a great question. It's a bag that I don't think I have talked about before, and that's purely because I am not the biggest fan of the Constance 24. So the Constance bag comes in several different sizes. The most popular sizes are obviously the mini Constance, which measures 18 centimeters, which is my favorite size. Then you have the Constance 24, which now you can pick up in two different iterations. You can either get the traditional Constance 24, which is what we've known for the past couple of years, or you can buy the re-released original Constance 24, which comes with a longer strap. I don't think it has a divider in the middle of the back, so I think it's just one large compartment, and then it also comes with a built-in little mirror as well as a pocket on the back, if I'm not mistaken. It's not something that I ever really looked into, just because I'm not the biggest fan of the Constance 24, and by looking into it, I mean asking to see it in person for myself in the boutique. Because I'm not a Constance 24 person, it's never something that I asked about, but I think these are the main differences between the current Constance 24 and the re-released version, which I think is definitely interesting, but I personally don't think that a Constance 24 would suit me, even though it doesn't seem like that big of a difference, a 24 bag and an 18 bag. Those 6 centimeters make the world of a difference, and they make the Constance 24 a lot more bulky. So while I love wearing my Constance 18 as a crossbody bag, I cannot do the same thing with a Constance 24. It's a bag that I purchased and it just didn't work out for me. I feel like as a crossbody bag, it almost looks like a weird messenger bag. It's just not flattering. I think the only way for you to carry a Constance 24, or the most flattering way for you to carry a Constance 24, is either as a little handheld bag, or for you to double the straps and wear it under your shoulder as a shoulder bag, which is just not something that I would personally do. So even though I prefer the released Constance 24 compared to the one that we've had around for the past few years, it's still not a bag that I would go for. Just the size and the proportions, I don't know what it is about bags that are 24, 25, 26 centimeters, but I just don't think that they personally suit me. And my friends, this brings us to the end of today's video. There are still plenty of questions left, which I unfortunately cannot get to, at least not in this Q&A, purely because I am starting to lose my voice and I'm struggling to speak. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you being here and watching, and I hope to see you back here with a new video really soon, which I am thinking is going to be a travel vlog.